Deep into the Pacific Ocean, minute eel larvae have commenced on a dangerous voyage. Out of the millions who have started this journey, a very small number will reach the rivers of southeast Australia, 2,000 miles away from their birthplace in the ocean. Only a few will survive this epic swim that takes a whole year, but as they reach the estuaries, many obstacles await. What drives them to travel so far is not yet clear, but their resolve is faultless. As glass eels, they now have short and narrow bodies and must learn to adjust to the fresh waters as they are forced up the rivers by the rising tides. Their journey might end abruptly due to prowling predators. The eels are defenseless and easy targets, so they must wait till dark to continue their trip upstream. The eels are not safe even at this hour, as perches lurk around hunting at night. A fortunate escape. The eels display great resilience against the strength of the flowing waters, but greater challenges lie ahead. The dam is blocking their route. They cannot win over the rushing water, but their urge to reach upstream is so intense that they come out of the water and start climbing the side of the dam. The dam is 5 meters high, and this arduous task may take 3 hours. Being skin breathers, these eels are in danger of drying out. The running waters could wash them back down from the top, forcing them to restart the climb. However, those who manage to succeed continue their voyage upstream and begin to grow. It takes many weeks for the elvers to mature. Their skin turns brown and they feed on worms which are available in abundance. However, they are still hunted by others. Water rats present in these regions are adept at hunting using their powerful webbed feet to catch prey underwater. Escape is improbable. They have travelled far upstream after 6 months of struggle. They reach the lakes along the channel and develop into adults measuring 1 metre. These lakes will be their home for the next 25 years. Fish, crustaceans and carrion are their source of food here. Remarkably, their journey does not end here. After having lived in the lake for years, these amazing navigators return to their birth grounds in the Pacific, never to be seen again. Finally, they realize their lifelong quest by diving deep down to breed and perish. This olive ridley turtle is a unique sea traveller. She has spent her life steering through ocean currents, which have taken her across thousands of miles. Several marine turtles like her have traversed these oceans, but there remains one species that makes the greatest odyssey of them all: the green turtle. 30 years of its life have been spent in eating and growing in the refuge of these tropical reefs, but now this fully grown adult, propelled by a desire to mate, sets off on a fantastic voyage. It will join other green turtles out in the ocean on a journey to reach their age-old breeding sites. They'll depart the east coast of Brazil and cover an astounding distance of 1,400 miles. They'll journey towards the only land available to them in the centre of the Atlantic, the small island of Ascension. This great journey can be completed owing to the exceptional navigational skills and tremendous energy reserves of these turtles. Their desire to procreate impels them away from their continuous search for food. These lone seafarers leave behind the East Pacific oceanic waters and come together along the coastline of Central America. Males are sexually active only for a month. Within this time, both the sexes must copulate with several partners. Using the claws on its 4 flippers, the male grasps the female tightly. This firm hold may last several hours. The stress to breed in this short span of time causes some turtles to make vain efforts to stick with pairs that are already engaged in copulation. The turtles part ways after copulating. The pregnant female now continues her voyage to the nesting shores, where she will finally lay her eggs. Incredibly, natural instincts guide her back to the shores of her birthplace even after so many years. With good vision, she can easily identify her surroundings as she swims up for air. She can pick up chemical traces with her sharp sense of smell. The low-frequency vibrations of the waves hitting on the beach can be heard by her beneath the water. She's not the only one. Hundreds of olive ridley females have journeyed to these shores to lay their eggs. Though they gather on these nesting grounds in such huge numbers, none of them interact with each other. They remain true to their lonely and quiet nature. She has not eaten since the beginning of her journey and reaches the land with an empty stomach. Her body fat is the only source of energy. The egg-laying season has now truly commenced. Dragging herself up the shore is a laborious task. Her flippers are not suited to moving on land. Finally, her hard work has paid off. She has joined the greatest congregation of turtles on the planet. A victorious finale to a remarkable marine odyssey. Spread out on a field of dandelions are some of nature's most supreme travellers. Far from being immobile, plants can undertake very long journeys. As their golden heads change into white balls, dandelions lay open hundreds of parachutes with a seed appended to each one. Dandelions take advantage of the wind to exploit this smart mechanism and enable the subsequent generation of seeds to be airborne. They move on to inhabit new places, leaving behind these packed grounds. Their voyage covers unbelievable distances, and their seeds are spread across the globe. The ingenious mode of travel of the plants can be cleverly simple. The natural development of burdock seeds has arranged a ride for this plant. The hooked balls effortlessly cling to the fur of animals that pass by, separating the seeds from their parents. These will ultimately be dropped off by their unwilling transporter and, with a bit of luck, reach fertile plains. The great range in plant designs show us that they can journey even in such unfriendly surroundings. To survive in these moving sands and high winds is no easy task for these plants. However, the birdcage plant has come up with a solution to roll over the sands. Like a spinning Ferris wheel, the deadwood cage deposits its seeds over considerable distances. Ultimately, few of these seeds will germinate in a conducive atmosphere. Plants are busy travelling all over the planet. Cocoa palms rank high on the list of the world's greatest sea voyagers. They stick out their heads to sea not by chance, but in waiting to set their seeds out on a maiden voyage. A floating husk becomes the ideal ocean-bound watercraft to ship the valuable cargo inside. These tiny vessels can safely transport the coconuts for months on the ocean currents to reach far-off islands where they finally end their travel and grow on new shores. The cocoa palm's achievement is unquestionable. It is now the most prevalent tree in the tropics. Far inside the African forest is a plant that is also a champion traveller. The sea bean. Possessing the largest of all sea pods, it has to utilise water power to aid in its voyage. Grooves in the pod make certain the seed commences its journey down the river one after the other. Covering huge distances, it will head towards the mouth of the river via the mangroves and finally reach the sea. It can journey through clusters of islands out in the vast oceans to live for around a year at sea. Its defensive cover can become so worn out and torn that it breaks up, discharging the seed to float alone. Those that stay alive may land at places as distant as the Australian coastline to end a remarkable natural odyssey. The wildebeest envelop the vast African plains like a black cloud. Nearly 1 million animals flock together and travel collectively, and confront the unseen perils of the savannah. Their journey is an endless cyclical expedition of 2,000 miles as they go out in search of food. In July, the rutting season sees great activity. Males battle for control of territories. These contests are brief as the herd travels through, but long enough for the healthiest males to find a partner. It's just a practice run for the yearlings. The herd's voyage stretches from Kenya in the north to Tanzania in the south, keeping an eye on the changing of seasons. The rain gods have smiled on the Serengeti, and gaining from it are the herds that have just arrived here. It is heaven for a herbivore, and these luxuriant grazing lands have come at a crucial time. The expectant females have delivered their babies. The grasses contain calcium, meaning their babies can be suckled with milk in abundance. But they hardly have any time to rest, as a wildebeest odyssey begins at a very early age. As they feed on the grasses, there is rainfall in other places. The booming thunder, the rain clouds, and the divine odour of rain beckon them. Regardless of the time of day, the herd will continue marching to arrive at these fresh grasslands. However, they have company in their pursuit of food. As the weather calms down, the cheetahs spring into action. There isn't much the herd can do to escape these able predators. The attack has been carried out with perfection. Come June, and these fertile grounds have been transformed into barren land by the blazing sun. The rains have disappeared, turning their paradise into a gloomy terrain. Migration is the only viable option for these thirsty animals if they want to stay alive. Trailing their elders and the combined wisdom of the herd will guide them to refreshing waterholes. They have arrived at the great Masai River. There is an abundance of water and food, and also fresh perils to confront. As their number increases on the banks, the sheer intensity of the population impels them to jump in. It is an awe-inspiring sight. The might of the great Maasai is not enough to contain the surging force of the mammoth herd. A few of them will fall prey to the currents and the crocodiles. But a majority will continue their march forward to their northern abodes in the Masai Mara. For the wildebeest, it is a lifelong odyssey, one among the last of the supreme land travellers. A diamondback rattlesnake rouses in his lair when the spring sun heats up outside. This is his signal to leave the den that protected him in his 4-month-long hibernation, and now he must start a valiant expedition into the unknown. At 4 years of age, he's prepared to breed. This instinct, combined with his renewed appetite, propels him forward. This is the first time he has made this journey, but he must find his way down the hills while being alert for his chances to eat. The warmth of the spring has tempted a whiptail lizard to sunbathe, but that's about to change. The lizard might be swift, but the rattlesnake is phenomenally sensitive to smell. This being the first time the diamondback has fed in months, he is intent on catching the lizard. The rattler is deaf to his prey, but based on the tremors of its movements, moves in. The poisonous nip takes the fight out of his quarry. In less than a month, spring is underway fully, and the new explorer has navigated down through gorges and foothills to reach the Sonoran Desert. He has arrived at a region unknown. Others have the edge here. He is defenseless against attacks from above and has to move swiftly because red-tailed hawks have a taste for rattlesnake. By May, the nights have become balmy and it is possible to hunt. He is more secure at night when his inbuilt thermal pits enable him to sense his prey in the dark by picking up heat from it. He just has to await the right moment to attack. A badly timed strike means a lost meal, but he only requires one every 2 weeks. He can manage without one for now. All through the summer he will carry on looking for prey. At this point, he has discovered a female rattlesnake. Alas, she has already got a follower. He must use all his endurance and ability and grapple with his competitor. Fangs are avoided, but his rival's superior spread and weight force him to resign himself to his loss. The storms in later summer signal that he will soon have to try to travel back home. Ultimately, as the days become shorter, he gets ready to find the way back to the same cave from which he began his journey in February. This year he might have failed at breeding, but there will be more opportunities if he lives out his 16-year life expectancy. His lifetime odyssey will be a grand accomplishment of navigation as he finds his way back home every winter with total accuracy.